UFC Paris, Alex, was probably collectively and individually our worst pick, main card, since we started the podcast over a year ago. Not to say it was a bad fight card. There were a lot of exciting moments, a lot of good fights, a lot of fights with big implications, but we just didn't know shit about them coming in. But before we get to the main card, let's preview, or recap, rather, the prelims.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's kick it off.
All right, so kicking it off, Chris Duncan opened the prelims with a quick come-from-behind victory over Balaji Oki. The Zulu Warrior was giving Duncan issues. I refrained from saying problems because his nickname is the problem. But as Dustin Poirier says, be silly, jump the gilly. Duncan put Oki out of his back and had to let the ref know the fight was over. So that was an impressive, interesting way to start the day. No complaints here, but good for Duncan.
Got the crowd going.
Of course, that was my first wrong pick of the night.
First of many.
For
both of us.
Just a month from her previous win, Jacqueline Cavalcanti took this fight on 2 weeks' notice against Nora Cornol. Cavalcanti defended 8 out of 9 takedowns while outlanding Cornol 87-80 in total strikes, paving the way to her 29-28 split decision win and moving her to 3-0 in the UFC. Impressive fight from her.
Good start to her career.
2 in 2 months. We like it. Good moving. Daniel Barras took this fight deep with Victor Altamirano. Very close on the scorecards, with Barras stealing the fight with a knockdown. 29-28 unanimous decision, moving Barras to 1-1 in the UFC and Altamirano to 0-3 to start his UFC career.
It might be the end of his UFC career, too.
Could very well be. Might have to work his way back from that one. Eileen Perez, in the women's bantamweight division, put on a show on the scale prior to her fight with Daria Zelezniakova. Then she followed it up with a quick submission by arm triangle. She landed the takedown with enough time to work. Perez finished the fight, got up to twerk. Perez is now 4-1 in the UFC after losing her debut.
So she's in her face.
Yeah, torqued directly in her face. She's now on a 4-fight win streak. So Eileen Perez is the real deal. Be on the lookout for her. Taylor Lapalus gave France its first win of the night over Vince Morales. Despite 2 takedowns from Morales, Lapalus kept his hands busy, landing 99-49 total strikes compared to the 2. Staying at good distance and defending 4 takedowns, he earned his unanimous decision win. I don't want to say easily, but it was a good showing from him. Ludovic Klein entered UFC Paris as the biggest betting favorite on the night and won another one, not easily, but won heartily over Roosevelt Roberts. Roberts was able to find success on Klein, but Klein was too polished with multiple takedowns and over 2 full rounds of control, or almost 2 full rounds of control, while adding strikes to soften up his opponent. Klein with the unanimous decision victory, 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28. We like Ludovic Klein over here, don't we?
We do. We do.
Good,
Ludovic,
good.
like his name.
Omar Sy moved to 11-0 following his unanimous decision win over Dawoon Jung. Using every tool in his belt, Sy outstruck, outgrappled, and outperformed Jung in every aspect of this fight, in my opinion. Sy landed 2 out of 7 takedowns with 3 minutes of control, outstriking his opponent 97-36, winning 30-27 on all the judges' scorecards. Another good one. And Iwan Kutelaba defeated Ervan Erslan by split decision, despite being more active and controlling the fight for the majority of the time. Kutelaba landed 3 out of 12 takedowns, but had a noticeable advantage in the speed and the striking power. This moves Kutelaba to a strange 7-9-1 in the UFC. He's had a hell of a rocky career, but they keep him around because he keeps doing impressive fights. He's a very
fun guy. He's entertaining.
Yeah, very entertaining. But
win or lose or draw.
Yeah, win, lose, or draw. He's putting everything out there. The Hulk is the real deal. That wraps up the prelims. Let's jump directly into the impressive for the card, but disappointing for my picks.
And we're going to jump into one we both got wrong.
Yeah.
Ziam with the TKO 3rd round over Matt Frevola. Yep. I think I picked 2 or 3 Americans over Frenchmen. I think all of them are wrong. Well, one of them was right.
There you go.
This was one of the wrong ones, though. Yeah. Ziam, impressive performance. Frevola. Is this the second time in a row he's been knocked out?
I think it was the second time in a row because prior to that he was on a 3-fight. He was on a 3-fight KO streak. Ziam, yeah, it was a perfect framing for the knee. knee to the face to knock Matt Frevola unconscious. Ziam throughout the fight, though, he used his reach advantage well. You know, he had power. He got 4 out of 4 takedowns for himself, almost a full round of control for himself. 4-fight win streak now for Ziam, 6-2 record in the UFC. It was an impressive win. What did you think of the fight overall? I mean,
Ziam,
I had him winning easily going into the final round.
He dominated the fight. He got the finish. That's what you always want to see. I think that puts you like a step above where if you just dominate the fight for 3 rounds, not only you dominate for 2.5, 3 rounds, you get the finish. Overall, I think Ziam improved his stock greatly with the fans and with the UFC.
Yeah, so it's impressive. I understand why he's never gotten a ranked opponent yet, because the lightweight division is just so crazy stacked with tough opponents that aren't losing often. But I think the time has come to give the man a top 15 opponent.
I think he deserves
6-2 in the UFC. Who's next for the Frenchman, Fares Ziam? Jalen Turner, I got one. That's
Jalen
one
Turner,
option.
I feel like we throw out for every single one. But I like it.
Ranked 15 in the lightweight division. If not, that's the only one in the rankings I got right now. The other two, Drakkar Klose or Joel Alvarez. Either one of those, I just think, you know, with their abilities, knockout power, knockout potential in a very contested lightweight division, I think any one of those three. What do you think as the best option?
I say fuck it, give him Jalen Turner. We say it everyone. Jalen Turner, 15. Entertaining fight. Everybody knows him.
Go
Name
big or
recognition.
go home, right?
Jalen Turner, sign him up.
Cool. Next up, Morgan Charriere defeated Gabriel Miranda by KO. It was 27 seconds into the second round. Throughout the beginning of the fight, Morgan Charriere's hands were damn strong.
Yeah, Morgan Charriere, he looked good in this fight.
I picked Gabriel Miranda as a big upset because
this is one of the few I actually got right.
Yeah, I was hoping that one of those takedowns would just be early in the round, first or second round, where they weren't like sweaty, so he could get his hands on him, and Gabriel Miranda could pull off one of those his 16 career sub wins. So I was hoping that would happen. Obviously, I knew the odds were stacked heavily against me, and I figured I would lose. I just didn't think the hook was gonna just finish him.
Yeah, it was a nice, clean hook, solid hook.
And then you had 2 out of 2 takedowns from Charriere, which showed. I mean, I know in the Marsgall fight he landed takedowns, but doing it again against somebody who is a wrestling predominant person,
he showed that
very well-roundedness in the cage.
The odds were correct. I think he showed.
Absolutely. So 2-1 in the UFC. This is a tough one because he's brand new in his career there. I got David Onama. He's got 7 KO wins. Muhammad Naimov, 6 KO wins, 3-1 in the UFC. Or if we're going for a deeper UFC vet, what about Billy Q? 8 career KOs.
I like the Billy Q win. I think Charriere, he's an exciting fighter.
I think they're going to vault him soon.
I think so too, especially if he keeps getting wins like this so clean. Give him Billy Q. It's a good name recognition. Yeah, I think a win over Billy Q, then you're looking at a ranked guy for him.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of streamline his stake to the top 15 of the UFC. Next, well, I don't know why I screamed there.
The only American to beat a Frenchman out of the 3 that we had on the main card. Yep. This was Bryan Battle over Jousset. Bryan Battle, the second round TKO. He continued his impressive streak. He's been one of the most impressive fighters over his last 5 or 6 fights.
Bryan Battle did damn good against the Frenchman. KO second round, 3 minutes 47 seconds, I think it says. It was a good fight from him. Battle had more power, had more speed, in my opinion. It was a good one. He softened him up and then scored the TKO. Pulled away in the second round, started gaining ground, and just did work. It was a good fight.
Good fight for Battle. He, as I said, he continues his hot streak, and I think he's a guy. He's got to be ranked next, right? Yeah,
3-0-1, 6-1-1 UFC. I was about to say I think he's ready for a ranked opponent. What's crazy? While I was looking at this, I couldn't help myself but to put Randy Brown, another guy that we're always picking fights for. He's not ranked, but I couldn't help but put him on there as an option. But the 2 ranked guys I do have, Neil Magny or Vicente Luque. So those three.
I think
Rude Boy Randy Brown, Neil Magny, or Vicente Luque. 2 of 3 ranked options.
I think Neil Magny's probably the biggest name that would give him the most clout, but I like the Rude Boy.
I think that's just going to be such a better fight because
Yeah,
Randy
I
Brown's
agree.
a great fighter. Deep in the UFC, I didn't even care to write down his wins and losses because it was just, he's got 10 plus fights in the UFC. He's been there a while. But either way, I think it would be a good fight. Next up.
Next fight, we got
This William
pulled his
Gomis
arm.
defeated Joanderson Brito by split decision. It was a good fight. It was very contested. It was close. I understand and respect this split decision because if a close fight's going to be ruled that way, I get it. I can only be mad because I picked Brito.
Yeah,
And put money
I
on
agree.
Brito. So
it
then
could
I
have
lost
gone
all it all.
It was a justified split decision where
Yeah.
you could see it either way.
Looking at it,
And
though,
the hometown guy,
Gomis
the French guy got the judge's
Somebody
score.
be mad at you for calling him a Brit. Gomis led in total strikes 69 to 57, but he was taken down 3 times out of the 6 attempts, and then was controlled for 6 minutes. So it did go back and forth. He didn't get the takedowns like the subs and everything, but Brito had sub attempts. So I do see the contestant and the judges. I do see how close it was. It was a good fight. I'm not as mad as I want to act like I was at the beginning there.
it
I
wasn't a
talked myself
robbery
off
or
the
anything.
ledge. But there was some very strange scorecards in this one for a few fights in the prelims.
Well, you go to a place that hasn't had a lot of fights for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, they have one now once a year, twice a year, but for a while they've only had MMA for 3 or 4 years.
Right, legally. Right, exactly. So, as always, William Gomis now won. So, who's next for him? He called out Diego Lopez, which I think is just foolish for him.
I get you want to get your name, but Diego Lopez is looking at a title shot possibly.
Yeah, Diego Lopez would kill William Gomis. What about the 15th ranked Edson Barboza? If we're giving the man a ranked opponent.
Edson Barboza, he's always down for a fight and he's always entertaining.
Or the not the most active fighter. What about Giga Chikadze?
Chikadze, he probably wants to be more active. He wants
does.
to live up to the hype
He did say he wanted to be more
he
active.
once had. I like Chikadze. Give him Chikadze.
All right, let's go. Moving on.
Co-main event, probably the most disappointing fight.
Performance.
Nassourdine Imavov, the unanimous decision, rightfully so, over Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen, I mean, he started off well, good first round, and then faded quick in
Yeah, I don't know what
the
that
last
was.
2 rounds. It was like he was trying to force the takedowns that weren't there, and
He fought. Imavov did have the French crowd electrified. He won most of the exchanges through the 2nd and 3rd round of the fight. That was good for, being a French fan. If you're one of those. Imavov did stuff 9 out of the 10 takedowns, which is crazy. Each of them did get a total round of control time. So hats off to that. But
yeah, like I
overly
said, Brendan Allen
unimpressive.
started strong and then faded quick. I think there's no doubt about it. The last 2 rounds were easily Imavov's.
Yeah. This was probably the biggest implications fight of the night.
I agree, because I think Imavov reasonably can call for a title shot now.
Yeah. Which will move me right in. I got 3 options. Sean Strickland. He's got a previous loss to him. Sean Strickland still holds the ranking advantage and arguably does deserve a title shot before anybody else. There's an argument.
There's an argument.
Obviously, an obvious option would be the title shot, Dricus du Plessis. Hard Knocks, or Still Knocks, sorry.
Still knocks.
Thinking of the football show. Or what about Izzy? Give Izzy a good chance to fight a completely different opponent.
I like the Izzy for Imavov. I don't think Izzy would take that fight because I think Izzy's kind of
Is Izzy not?
he's looking for big time matchups now.
I was gonna say
'Cause he even said
Robert
this week-
Whitaker is the gatekeeper for the division, quote unquote, right? You got to beat him to get in. In a lot of cases, that's how du Plessis made it. Is he not going to ever be that guy?
I don't think he will. I think he's too big of a pay-per-view
feel
and
like
big star. I think Izzy's just going to take big fights for him.
I feel like if Imavov doesn't get the title shot, he needs a gatekeeper.
If he doesn't,
kind
I would give him Strickland.
Okay, I like it. What do you think is going to
Strickland
happen? Do you think
rematch.
he gets title shot or the Strickland rematch?
It's hard to say. I don't think he gets a title shot just because he's he's gonna be one of those guys I think that has to be like undeniable.
Like a
to get
Magomed
title
on
shot.
Goliath type where he just keeps
Or
getting
like
popped.
a Bilal Muhammad, where it's like you have to win like 20 in a row to give this guy a title shot. I think Sean Strickland,
Which is crazy because he had good performances over Jared Cannonier. He stopped the former champ, albeit he's 40, and a lot of people are calling for Herzog's head with the early stoppage, whatever. But he did do a number, not easily again, but won heartily over Roman Dolidze when they fought previously to Jared Cannonier. So I think he deserves a title shot, but Strickland's probably next. Yeah?
Yeah, I think Strickland's the one to make.
Let's guess. All right, main event, Renato Moicano, in my opinion, scored a 10-8 first round over Benoit Saint-Denis.
I did not see this one coming.
No, I didn't.
I thought it was going to be I thought Benoit was going to have the obvious advantage on the feet, and then they'll probably stalemate on the ground, but Moicano continues to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
That's one thing you can say about him. His stock is way on the rise.
It's crazy.
And he fucked Benoit's face up.
Oh, yeah. First round, both eyes closed.
Yeah, both eyes.
I mean, what are you going to do
can't even
about
be.
that?
It's a doctor stoppage. You can't be mad at.
It's crazy. Yeah, exactly. Benoit Saint-Denis was honest. You know, he was like, I can't. I saw him. He was like, duh, toi. And then they covered the eye. He's like, I can't see shit.
I can't see anything.
This is blind. So they immediately stopped it. I have to say, though, if they would have let it go for a third round, did you see Renato Moicano's shoulder?
No, I didn't.
It's like broken off the bone in the back.
Oh.
So that's why he was so slow in the second round. Yeah, they didn't think he hurt it in the fight.
Can you fight better with no eyes or one shoulder?
Right. So like
I'm picking the guy with one arm.
at that point, yeah. But that does say that is why Moicano was slower in the second round. He was hurt. Takedown led to many vicious shots. Had Benoit Saint-Denis' eyes closed, like we said. It was a great showing by the rarely beaten Money Moicano.
Yeah,
It was a good fight.
He's on a roll.
He called out two people. Paddy Pimblett.
Him and Paddy Pimblett have been going back and forth.
He's got 3 call-outs. I just remember there was a third one. He called out Paddy Pimblett. He called out Dan Hooker. And then he said, fuck it. If Dan Hooker doesn't want it, what about Justin Gaethje? So you got those 3 options.
I think the one most realistically is Paddy Pimblett.
Or, if we're talking tests, because Dan Hooker's would be a test, Justin Gaethje would be a test. If we're talking tests, what about Mateusz Gamrot coming off a loss?
I like the Gamma, but I think Moicano, his stock's on the rise. I think one of the 3 guys he named.
He's ranked higher than Pimblett. They would just fight for beef.
But they've been talking back and
Yeah.
forth. I think that's the fight to make.
That would be fun.
I like that.
It would be
fight.
a good fight. Paddy's at number 15.
I think it'd be a good fight for both guys. A chance to.
Moicano is pissed also because he didn't move up the rankings.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which you beat the guy beneath him, and we're talking about the most contested division in the UFC,
in the whole UFC, and it's
arguably.
been like that for years.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to move up a bunch of spots in the ranking when you beat somebody beneath you. But I get it. He does deserve probably higher than 11 with inactive people. Like Max Holloway is inactive in the lightweight division largely.
I mean, he's had one fight in like 4 years in the
That's why I said largely.
But he dominated.
But I get it. Anyway, that was a good main card. Shout out Paris. Shout out UFC Paris. It was a good going.
Good going.
I'm excited for the next one.